Hi guys, it's Chard here, and I have a confession to make. I really don't like Mechazod. So, this week's Brawl is probably one of the most interesting Blizzard have yet created. Now primarily, Tavern Brawls have been centred around taking the central mechanics of Hearthstone, changing some of the basic rules, creating a silly little twist on the base game once a week. We've seen Brawls where randomly spawning minions create the deck, like Too Many Portals, Spiders, the Great Summoner competition. Ones where the progression of a normal game's curve is manipulated, like in Heart of the Sunwell, Clockwork Dealer, Randomonium, or going as far as to change the player's hero into something new with Boombot vs Noyatron or Showdown at Blackrock Mountain. Now, while all these have been interesting in their own way, they generally rely on random chance being more of a factor in the game, that were actually possible. But essentially it's the game we already play, with just a few wacky changes in the rules. No released Brawl has fundamentally altered the gameplay of Hearthstone to the extent of Unite Against Mechazod, though. If you haven't played it, Unite Against Mechazod is the first cooperative experience in Hearthstone. Gearmaster Mechazod, he's a special boss minion that begins play on the board. He's initially a 295 card with Taunt, and the objective is for the two-player heroes, who are always a pre-made Paladin and Priest, to unite and combine their cards to bring him down. The Brawl is over if Mechazod is destroyed, or either of the player's health is reduced to 0. Now this is easier said than done. Mechazod himself has a selection of rather nasty abilities up his sleeve, but to be honest, it's probably worth just playing it for yourself. So it's a complete overhaul of the way the game usually works. Instead of trying to combat your other human player, it's up to you to work together against a mutual foe. I think that's exactly what a Tavern Brawl should be, a rework of the rules to create something fun and interesting for players who are a little burnt out with the base game. Not that anyone's burnt out with the base game at all, are they, Blizz? However, there's a few things wrong with it that for me make this one of the most frustrating experiences I've had in Hearthstone for a while, more than a face hunter. I will just say, however, that everything I'm about to say is my opinion. It's purely what I think. Your experience may differ. A lot of people seem to really like this Brawl, and I can understand why they like it. I think there's problems with it. So, I'm going to talk about what I do like, first of all. 1. It's not Hearthstone. Now what I mean by that is, in a lot of other card games like Pokemon TCG, Magic, there's nothing that stops players from not following a rule if it's unclear or if they just want to have fun with the game and mix it up a bit. House rules have been part of tabletop gaming forever, and for all of Hearthstone's advantages of being in a digital space, you can't really bend the rules because of the nature of a video game. The mechanics and code are sort of set in stone. But Tavern Brawls allow Blizzard to break the rules, bend them, and create new challenges and interesting modes. Now, all joking aside, this week in particular has been very controversial in Hearthstone. We've seen a lot of very influential names in the community expressing their distaste at the state of the game. Pro games like Firebat, community content creators like Disguised Toast and Trollden. There's some troubling cracks starting to appear in the player base that don't bode well for the future, especially with Overwatch lurking on the horizon to co-opt the player's game time, in the way that StarCraft 2 arguably lost a lot of its players to Hearthstone. Interesting new modes and rule sets like the Adventures and Tavern Brawls, and the possibility of co-op play as an option is certainly a lot more interesting than the endless climb up the ladder, especially with so few new card releases to effectively shake up the meta enough. Number 2. It's a great prototype. Okay, I'm calling this right now, on the record, to you. BlizzCon begins today, at the time of recording, and there's been a lot of speculation about what's going to be announced for the future of Hearthstone. The Grand Tournament has had somewhat of a lukewarm reaction, and a proper adventure is long overdue, so I feel confident in saying that whatever is announced will feature cooperative play in some form, and Blizzard are using this Tavern Brawl Unite Against Mechazod as a prototype, not only to see if it works, but to test the player base's reaction. It's such a massive overturn of how the base game functions, it would really be sad if it was only used as a one-off Brawl and then forgotten about. The technology is clearly there, Blizzard. Watch this space. Number 3. Players are being nice to each other. I mean, if you ignore the Paladin who puts all his blessings on Mechazod. The trolls are pretty real. But it's nice after a hard-fought effort to not be so terrified of getting a friend invite. As a mode, it actively encourages you to work with a friend rather than have to rely on randomers. It's a good way of making the game a little bit more social. It's time to discuss what I don't like about this mode. Grab your fries, kids. It's about to get salty in here. Number 1. Uncooperative cooperative. With such hype around the mode as the first cooperative experience in Hearthstone, it is infuriating how hard it is to actually cooperate properly with the other player. Now, in the best case scenario, you're playing with someone you can chat with through Battle.net or another chat service like Skype, and you can coordinate your play that way. Now, clearly this mode is best played with a friend, but what about those who either don't have many contacts or just want to dip in quickly in a more casual playing style? I realise what I'm about to say isn't easily fixed. As much as I open by praising how they bend the rules in tavern brawls, I accept that some of those rules can't be broken entirely, and the way Hearthstone is designed is the main stumbling block for a lot of these criticisms, but anyway. The two decks are designed to synergise with each other, rather than just one deck synergising with itself. Priest has the ability to heal minions and the hero power to keep them up, while Paladin mainly provides buffs to grow smaller minions into decent damage dealers. One has Lordwalker Cho, the other has Millhouse, and the combination of these two is frequently cited as the best way to pull off a victory. However, there's no way to see what the other player has in their hand. Now, this is a sample of something hardwired into the game that causes problems. Even official Hearthstone tournaments don't have the ability to show both hands. They've got to resort to adding another video layer over the gameplay to show all the cards in play, which is frankly ridiculous. Now, while I usually applaud the fact that Hearthstone has no in-game communication outside of the emote system, this lack of transparency is hampered by the fact there's no real way to communicate players or cards with your co-op partner. There's threads on Reddit proposing semaphore-like codes using the emote system in lieu of proper communication to try and work out plays. That's just stupid. With no way of knowing what the other player has in his hand, no way to plan how you can combine your cards to create effective plays, as well as trusting your partner to neither concede and deny victory for you both, or just to buff Mechazod into impossibility, Hearthstone's first cooperative experience instead is a different type of fight against the other hero, where you're blindly hoping you can make good combinations by sheer chance rather than actual plan. Number 2. Mechazod himself. Mechazod is overpowered. Simple as that. It only takes 2 turns of overclock and his bomb salvo can annihilate any minion on the board that doesn't have Divine Shield to protect it. It's a mass AoE assassinate. Or he can do more damage to the players with it than they can effectively heal, and still be able to use mana to play fighting minions. There's the combination of Cho and Millhouse that everyone recognises to be so overpowered. He's even got an ability designed specifically to stop it quickly, leaving unprepared or, let's say, uncoordinated players, Blizzard, completely unlikely to make the best use of the combo. Although I will say, the card art on that card, that is adorable. It is a bunny with horns. Mechazod ramps far faster than the players can. He will always assassinate the biggest minion, a minion that, thanks to Mechazod having 2 opportunities to attack before the minion can be played, will be extremely dead before getting a chance to attack. Now, I understand that with 2 players and 60 cards, he needs to be tough, but sometimes he just feels unfair. Why not give him a mana pool of his own? We're used to that from the other adventures. Give him a mana pool, maybe that grows slightly quicker, to offset the fact that he gets more turns, but means he can't play Assassinate on turn 1. There's no point playing a minion on turn 1. It'll just die instantly. Okay, wait a minute. Yes, I know. I'm salty. I should get good, Kappa. But fuck him. He's worse than Garrett. No, actually, no, let's not go that far. Wait a minute. 2 sides of a battle coming together against a common foe? Why aren't we fighting Garrosh? That will make more lore sense for one. It'd be a great incentive to beat the snot out of a douche scream. There you go. Siege of Orgrimmar. Adventure. Confirmed. You heard it here first. Ooh, speaking of incentives. Number 3. Backwards rewards. Load Tavern Brawl for the first time. Concede. Get a pack. You get a pack whether you win or lose at the end of your first one, no matter what. I can understand why they're doing this, because it's a tricky brawl, and you can easily have the other player screw you over, reducing your chance of getting the reward. But the tangible reward that you get for losing the Tavern Brawl is a lot quicker and easier than trying to win. Now, I know some people aren't just there for rewards, what about fun? But with everyone acknowledging that it's quite tricky, I think there needs to be something worth fighting for. Another pack? Some gold? Deck slots, maybe? In conclusion then, while I appreciate it's an interesting bending of the mechanics and a great concept introduction for future cooperative content, I feel Unite Against Mechazod is too flawed to be truly as great as everyone seems to think. You got the lack of ability to coordinate with any random players, it's less accessible to casual players, victory is frustratingly tough to achieve, and God help you if you've got a quest to complete 5 brawls this week. And there's no real incentive to play repeatedly. While, yeah, it's getting predictable focusing around RNG spam and randomly created decks and brawls, they're at least fun. You know, the moment you pull a web spinner from a web spinner, or Varian Rin is able to be played turn 1, they're amusing moments. And even if you lose, you know it's only a matter of time before the benevolent RNGs smiles in your direction and you get a lucky win. With Mechazod, there's too much reliance on player synergy that's thanks to the way Hearthstone designed, really difficult to pull off. I mean, I certainly don't think it's bad. It's a great prototype for what they're going to reveal next, and that's really all it should be. But as for the brawl itself, no, I'm done. Can we have portals again, please? I like portals. But what do you guys think of the brawl? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think it's the 10th coming of the deck slot? Put a comment in the section below. I'll be looking forward to reading what you think. If you think I'm an idiot who should shut up and never do videos again, feel free to put that in there as well. I'm also the part of 6 Gamers that does live streaming. If you look in the description below, you'll see a link to twitch.tv/the 6 Gamers. Give us a follow if you want to know when we go live, or follow us on Twitter. I usually announce it there. There'll be more lore from James coming. I've seen a few comments with people complaining that we haven't had a lore episode in a while, but trust me, he's working on them. You've just got to pester and annoy him more, and he'll do it faster. Go on, do it. Please, annoy him. It's funny. Thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you soon.